Hello, welcome to this class session of exams past questions. Okay, so I want to use this opportunity to welcome you all and also thank you for tuning in so that you can learn one or two and prepare yourself for exam. My name is Augustine Okamba, and I will guide you through this process. Okay, so I am looking at a past question from Info Tech, May 2026. There's a paper type one. I think there's another type. I will also make a video of that one. But for now, let's start with this paper type and let's see what we can do. A quick disclaimer: this is just for educational purposes. It doesn't reflect the actual marking guide of the CSEC organization. It's just my own opinion to guide you on how to respond to the questions. Yes, so it is not for, it's just for educational purposes. Okay, yes, the actual mark guide may vary. Just have that in mind. Okay, so let's continue and let's see what we can do. So the first question here says, now what I want to make you understand about exams and how exams are done is always being smart. And the best way to be smart is reading the questions carefully, because one of the tricks about the exam is to throw students off balance in most cases, right? Yes, students who don't pay attention will be thrown off balance. But if you pay attention, if you're calm, not under pressure, you will get most of the answers. So understanding the question is 50% problem solved. Yes. So now you have to read the questions, and that will help you in what you're doing. Okay. And here we have this instruction. It says you have to answer all questions. Okay, so let's see how it goes. Now, question number one, it says Connect Academy is an independent school that serves students at the secondary level. The school has embraced the use of technology to enhance the teaching and learning of course content. You've seen that? The use of technology to enhance. Okay. Now to the actual questions where you will respond. 1A says, identify two types of computers that can be used by teachers and students during lessons. So when you see that, what comes to your mind? When you see a problem like this, what comes to your mind? What type of gadgets or devices that can be used by students and teachers? Now, I will just give you some options, right? Just quick options. I'm going to use text in this case. So quick options. Here, you can have a desktop computer, right? Let me delete that. New one. So you can have a desktop computer. So you can just say desktop computer. I think I need to change the font color. Let me delete that. Change the font color to red so that yeah, so that it looks more reasonable. So say desktop computer. Okay, desktop computer. Then here you can write either laptop or tablet. So it should just say laptop. Now, another option which you can get could be a tablet. A tablet. Okay. So this can be used by teachers and students during the learning processes. Okay, so just have that in mind, that this is what is obtainable. Now, the reason is that desktop computers are found in most school labs, just like the lab in your school. So, and it has a larger screen like the monitor, and you can use it for your personal work, like doing the SBA, doing any other work, research and other purposes. Now, laptops, some schools have laptop, even your school has a laptop too, and some teachers have laptop. I myself, I have a laptop which I use during my class session, and tablet, although most times I just use my mobile phone in a tablet form just to teach. But yes, tablet is a more appropriate response to give in such a case. So the tablet is just another option. Okay, so just have that in mind. Just have that in mind. I'm going to put an asterisk here. This is just an extra. Okay, so now it says name one hardware. This is 1B. Name one hardware device that may be useful for presenting lessons in the classroom. So when that comes to you, what do you think that we normally use in the lab to present lessons? So the most common one that can come into your mind is a projector, right? To project what the lesson the teacher has, project it on the screen. Another option could be maybe a large screen smart TV. Large screen smart TV. Yes, so you could just, that could be another option. Okay, but the first one above, which is the projector, is pretty much common. Now there is another option which you can use. Let's say it's called let me just put that asterisk too. That could be interactive whiteboard. Interactive whiteboard. But I will advise you, just out of these three, put in what you use at school. Yes, if you don't know about that, you can always ask your school IT admin so that they can tell you what type of hardware is used for presenting lessons in the school. Now, let's go to 1C. Here it says the school uses a database to manage its data, which is stored in the local network. Identify one other storage method by which the school can gain access to its data in the event that the data on its local storage gets lost. So what comes into your mind? Either the data gets lost or becomes corrupted. So what comes into your mind? Another way that the school can do this is to have cloud storage. Yes, cloud storage. So you could say cloud storage. Now, what the cloud storage does is to save files on remote servers. Okay, so many organizations use cloud storage to back up files remotely. Okay, so it's just like what you do call offsite backup. So why this is better, it is because cloud storage keeps a copy of the data on remote servers. And this remote servers can be owned by Google or Microsoft or any other cloud service provider like Alibaba. Yes, and Tencent. Well, that's for the Chinese people, but here in this region, Microsoft, Google, they do provide that purpose, because if the school hard drive, local hard drive fails, or maybe the network fails, the data is still safe online because it's stored in a remote server, right? So you can easily log in a different computer somewhere else using another internet to connect to the remote cloud storage, and you get it back. So that's it. Now let's go to another question. Okay, so this here, I think this here is pretty much easy. Just look at the table shown here. So you are given a table. The following data was taken up from the school's database, right? So looking at this data, so you have the one student, and you have this table here is a student table. You have the course table. Please, I will ask you to carefully study this table, study the table, and look what is involved here and what you can do to respond to the question. Okay, now, so let's go. Here now, it says, state the appropriate data types that would have been used in creating each of the following fields, right? So let's look at this, right? You have to ask yourself question, what type of data that this field can hold. Now look at the student ID. When you look at the student ID here, ask yourself, what type of data can this hold? So just come in here and reduce that. So you ask yourself, what type of data can this hold, right? Because when you look here, right, you see the data, it has some alphanumeric character. So since it has alphanumeric character, the best data type will be text. So text is the best data type to use in this case, right? Now, when you move down further, student, right? I think student is in this other one. So you look again, text will be the best. So in some cases you may call it text or text, or you call it short text, like in the case we use what you call this access. Since we use access, so we call it short text. Text and short text, they are the same. Okay, just have that in mind. They are the same. Text, short text, they are the same. So we say short text. So let me use, because this is what we normally use in the classroom. Then when you look at age, you go over to the student table. What type of data you see there, you find out that you have numerical value. So the best data type you put there is numbers. Number, right? Yes, that's what you do. And when you look at the grade level, you go and check where is the grade level. Grade level here in the student database. So the best is number because it is a numerical value. And doing just this alone gives you 4 marks. Pay attention because I've noticed some students when they go into exams, they forget this part or they just forget it totally. But all you need to do is look at what type of data you see here, what type of data you see here, what type of data is here. When you see there's a mixture of text and numbers, short text is the best answer for the data type. But when you see just numbers alone, comes to your mind, the best thing you need to do is to make sure that it is number data type that will be entered there. Because here now, why I say number, because it's whole numbers, right? So it's just integers. So that's how you make it work, and you get 4 marks. Okay. So now let's look at this question, although it's a little bit faint, but just bear with me. That's how I got it. So just bear with me. Yes. So those are the questions you ask yourself, right? Okay, so let's look at this now. It says the field that will be used as the primary key in the student table. I think the student ID should be, because when you look at this, you find out that this student ID, they are different. No one is repeating, right? So that should serve as student ID, because every student has a unique ID. And remember, primary key uniquely identifies a record in a database. So if it's going to uniquely identify a record in a database, that means it does not accept duplicate. Okay, it doesn't accept duplicate. So, and in school, each student, whether past or present, has a unique ID number for identification. So we'll say here, you just start. We're going to make this a little bit bigger. Somewhere here. Yes, student ID. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That makes sense. Okay. So the primary key is a field that normally uniquely identifies each record. Just ask yourself that whenever you are making this statement in your book, okay, or in your exam paper. So, and again, it is not empty. If you find out here, this student ID is not empty. Those are very much characteristic to use as a primary key. Okay, let's move forward. Here you have 2 marks. So it says identify the field in the course table that can be used to link the course table and the student table, and state the name of the key given to the field. I think the course table has a student ID. Yeah, student ID would be the best. So student ID. So when you say state, so you just say student ID. So you have the student ID there. So the next thing you need to know is that the name of the key given to the field. So that will be, because since it's student ID in a student table, so it will become foreign key. Foreign key, because it's it links table, it links primary key in another table. Yeah, so that becomes a foreign key. Foreign key is a field that leads to a primary key in another table. So just have that in mind. That is what the foreign key does. It's just to link a primary key in another table. So more likely they have the same field name. Yeah, so that's how it is. Okay, let's look at this point. It says the following is the result of a query which was designed to display the course average of each student. Okay, let's see. Now you have to study this. Here the question asks the feature that was used in the query to generate the course average. Yes, I think this feature, this query feature, I think it is called calculated, yeah, a calculated field. Yes, it is a calculated field because it's not an actual field in the database, but you generate this type of field as a query. So it is called a calculated field because you generate it on the fly. Calculated field. So now, just like I said, this query is correct because normally you need to sum up all the marks and then you divide it by the number of courses and all that. So that gives you the average. And this data is not stored in the database itself. It's just a query made on the fly. So if you search the database, you wouldn't get this, but you just did this with a query on the fly to get average. Okay. Now let's look at this tip here. It says when creating reports in a database, grouping can be very useful. So grouping can be very useful, and here it says explain the purpose of grouping. Why is grouping important? Why is grouping important? Well, grouping just helps to organize records and summarize the values in a chosen field, and also, it also helps you to summarize the data. So I think that should be done. And you are given 4 lines, so they're expecting you to write pretty much something. So we can just put say grouping database helps organize records that share same values in a chosen field. So in a chosen field, and in a chosen field, yes. So it organizes it into a single section. So if it organizes into a single section, yeah, I am coming. I just want to make this spacey enough so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so that's one. That's number one. Then number two will be, this can get you 1 mark, right? So the second one needs to, it allows you to summarize data, you know, like totals, it could be sum, like totals, subtotals, subtotals. You could even make an average. Yeah, show average, or do some count, or count. So yeah, that's what that part do. And if you remember, during the XBA, you did something similar like this, where you have to group data in similar fields and also do some calculations like sum. I know most of you must have done that, where you put the sum total of whatever items that need to be calculated, and there's a space too where you did count and so on. So it depends on your type of SBA, but I'm just saying these two, pretty much you can get 2 marks. So it allows you to group records with same value together and organize them into categories and all that. It also allows you to do calculations like totals and so forth. Okay, so just have that in mind, what can be done. Moving on. Okay, here, hold on now. You just have to read the question. Okay, read the question. So when you read the question, like I said, it's pretty much easy. 50% you got the problem solved. Now E says the school recently held security workshop for both staff and students to heighten their awareness of security threats and practice. You see what's going on here now? They are bringing this question from a different topic, and that topic has to do with I think cybersecurity and data misuse. Yeah, that's from that section or chapter that they are bringing this question now. So you see, you just have to be mindful of the question. Yes, they started from database and all. Okay, they started from hardware, database. Now they are in just, I think this is still question 1. This should be question 1. Yeah, it should be question 1. So that's where we are now. You see, all the way now you are in cybersecurity, computer security, and data misuse. So it's asking you that you need to do something. They just finished a security workshop. So 1, describe 2 ways by which staff can protect their computers and data from possible security threat. I told you. CSEC can be very funny at times. Yeah. They can be very funny. Actually, what they are trying to do is trying to, see or access your level of awareness to the topics. That is what they are trying to do. So it's not, CSEC is not hard, especially IT. It's not that, but it's just that sometimes the questions, if you don't read it, you won't understand it. Yes. And it keeps changing every year. So have that in mind. Have that in mind, that they could just say, like here now, it could be described to, what if they come tomorrow and say describe 4? What do you do? So just have that in mind. It just says describe. Listen, describe means you have to explain. You have to tell us what it means. So describe 2 ways that a staff can protect themselves online, right? So what comes is not online, to protect the computer. So what you need to do here, a very simple one is, I'm going to do this. So a very simple one could be, let me put an asterisk here. The one. Oh, come on. I think I just pressed the wrong button. Okay, so I pressed the wrong button and it moved. So one thing we can do, or one thing that the staff can do, is use strong password. Use strong password. Use strong password. Use strong passwords, right? Yeah. Now, why is it so? Use strong password and probably change regularly. Yeah, in this case, it depends on what you do. You may want to just use strong password alone and so on. So here, what you say, I think describe ways, yeah. So because I'm trying to see how, yeah, this prevents unauthorized, am I spelling it correctly? Unauthorized access. Prevent also unauthorized access. Yeah. So, and makes it difficult for hackers to guess the password. Yes, if you use a very strong password in any system, it makes it harder for hackers to get into that system. Okay, and when you change it regularly, it's just for security measures. Sometimes these hackers, they come up with new tools to see if they can beat your password and so on. So yeah, I've been using very strong, lengthy password for a very long time now. For, let's say, more than 10 years I've been using that. And even when my email was there was an attempt to hack my email and they got crazy stock. Yeah, though there are new methods too. Okay, so we'll talk about that later, but for now let's deal with the question. So this is here you have one which is use of strong password, right? So when you mention the method, you have to describe the method and what it does. So this gives you 1 mark. This here, this other sentence here, gives you another mark. So here I'm going to use this zone for the type 2. A bit. So another thing you can do is to, I'm going to put 2 star. Yes. Another thing you can do is to install antivirus software and update it. So you can say install and update antivirus software. Okay, remember, so your antivirus software must be updated and running because it can scan the system for many malware infection and all that. So because one, the antivirus detects, blocks and removes malwares. Malwares can be in the form of viruses, worms and trojans. Yes, so these malwares can actually do damage in the computer system. It can steal the computer system, it can delete files, it can spy on you. You understand? So that's why it's very, very good to install antivirus and update it regularly. Okay, so that's how it is. So now okay, so let's see. Antivirus software detects, right? Yeah, so detects, it blocks. What does that do? It remove malware, which could be virus. It could be virus, it could be trojans, could be worms. That could steal data, delete files, or spy on you. Delete files. Or spy on you. So updates help. Update helps it to protect against new threats. So when you regularly update it, the antivirus software, yeah, it helps protect the system, or it helps the antivirus protect the system against new threats and so on. So now when you look at this, you find out this gives you 2 marks and this here gives you 2 marks. Simple as ABC. You have 4 marks. 4 good marks. You have 4 good marks. Now there could be alternatives to this. There could be alternatives like firewall. So the firewall just blocks unauthorized incoming and outgoing traffic, preventing hackers from accessing the computer over the internet. You could also do data backups, backup data regularly, yeah, so that even if the system is compromised, you have the data backup elsewhere, like maybe a cloud storage, and so on. Or maybe there's an attack like ransomware and all that. And again, you may choose not to open suspicious email attachments. You can lock the computer when you're leaving the data and so on. But I think these are pretty much common for staff. Let's just say we use staff in school environment. But in a more formal settings, there are other methods that could be stronger. But just for the sake of learning purposes, yeah, you could do this, okay? So there are other options, which is to enable firewall to back your data regularly, either on a remote server or external hard drive or drive. You could also do some safety things like not opening suspicious email attachments, right? And always lock your computer when leaving your desk. Okay, so that's for that part. Now let's go to part 2. Part 2 says here that yes, so part 2 says what? State 2 yeah, well, a lot of writing. State 2 personal security measures students can or students should take when they are online. Hey, this is simple. This is simple. There are whole heap of options. You could just say let me start with one. To save yourself online, never share personal information. Never share personal information. Or you could do another thing here, which is you can set up privacy settings and use privacy settings. I think WhatsApp and some of these social media, they have such where you set up private settings so people can't begin to pry on you online and so on. You can lock certain features and so on. So because when you're using social media, you need to be careful what you share online, because that can be used against you. And again, it exposes your personal data online, so you have to be careful about that. Okay, now there are alternatives, and I will put that here. I'm going to use a different color, so I'll just write here alternatives. So alternatives, right? Excuse me. Alternatives can be don't just say be careful of clicking. Be careful of clicking random links. Yeah. So be careful of clicking random links online. Another one could be links. Careful clicking random links. Make sure you log out of your account on shared devices. Now, shared devices, Now, shared devices are devices, for instance, in the computer lab, those are shared devices. So whenever you use your Gmail account and you log in, make sure, I always try to remind students that whenever you use your account in any of the lab computers, make sure you log it out. Yes, because it's a shared device. So many students come in to do their work, and sometimes teachers also come in to make use of the lab computers. So don't log out all your accounts whenever you use them on shared devices, okay, and so forth. Now, you can use strong passwords. Use strong password for each of your social media accounts or accounts online, and don't meet strangers. Don't meet strangers online. Let me put it well. Don't meet online strangers in person. Yes, so if you are discussing with anybody online, which I may not have any control over, and some persons, adults, can have control over, it's just you and that person. Just be careful. Don't meet strangers you meet online. Don't meet them in person. Yeah, sometimes that's how they invite you and so on. I wouldn't say much about that, but you can do research on this on yourself and see what happens to students or children below 18, even sometimes adults, who have been treated badly and end up in a very worse state because they met online strangers in person. Okay, so just be careful. Yeah, so these two can serve as alternative. Remember, all these answers that I am giving is for educational purposes. Okay? Yes, there's no, this does not, how do I put it? This does not categorically in any way or form be the final marking guide for CSEC. It's just for educational purposes. Okay, so now I think we are done with question number 1.